Now coming to the final part and the third part of the intestinal protozoan infections video, where we will talk about the lab diagnosis of the infections caused by the Entamoeba histolytica, Giardia, Lamblia, and the Coccidian infections. So here I will just give you a overview of what are the steps that we are going to do, and the rest part you can see in my video that is already uploaded on my channel with the tag of the general lab diagnosis of the parasitic infections. There is That is the title of that video I have uploaded on my channel, that is the general diagnosis of the parasitic infections. So that is present in the general parasitology part. So if you read that general diagnosis part, then you can write with your own about the diagnosis of all the parasitic infections. So here I will just give the overview of or the steps in which you will go for the diagnosis, but rest the internal material you can see from there what you have to write in different parts. Okay, so first is the sample collection. So here for the suspected case of Entamoeba histolytica or Giardia lamblia, you have to first collect the sample. What is this sample? Stool sample, of course. Sample size, so it should be equal to the size of thumb. Number of specimens to be collected, so total 3 samples should be collected on alternate days within 10 days. Okay, within 10 days on alternate days you have to collect 3 samples total, and then you have to how are you going to store that specimen. So for storing the specimen, first you should remember that you have to check that specimen quickly to the under the microscope. But if you are not able to check that specimen, then you have to store, and for storing you have to use 10% formalin. So if you use 10% formalin for storing the stool sample, then it maintains the morphology of the cyst and the trophozoites. So that will make it easy for us to remember to diagnose or to find the trophozoite or the cyst, even if we examine the stored specimen after a later after 1 day or 2 days. Okay, so that is the importance of adding 10% formalin. So this is how we collect the sample, and after collection of the sample we have to do the microscopic examination. So in microscopic examination, what do we do? Direct saline wet mount, iodine wet mount, and the permanent stent smear with the iron hematoxylin or the trichome stain. This may be asked in MCQ. How do we do permanent stent, or with which type of stent we perform the permanent stent smear? So that is the iron hematoxylin stain and the trichrome stain. Now if you want to understand this direct saline wet mount and the iodine wet mount, then you have to go to my that video of general diagnosis of the parasitic infection. Next what we can do is the concentration method, where we can use the zinc sulfate centrifugal flotation method and the formol ether sedimentation method. So this you can do. Again, for knowing about these methods, you have to go to my that video, that is the general diagnosis of the parasitic infections. Next we have the coproantigen detection that we can do with the tri-edge parasite panel. This is nothing but a panel like this, and we add the stool sample and then we find the results, and we can detect about certain or few amount of, one or three total parasites if I'm not wrong. So 3 parasites can be detected with this tri-edge parasite panel, and those 3 parasites are, wait, those 3 parasites are one is Giardia lamblia, the other one is the Entamoeba histolytica, and the next one is the Cryptosporidium parvum. So these 3 parasites you can detect with this tri-edge parasite panel. Okay, next we have the molecular methods, which is always there. You know that molecular methods are always there. So molecular methods के थ्रू भी आप डायग्नोज कर सकते हैं. For that you have the PCR and the real time PCR, and biofire film array is also there, that is an automated multiplex PCR. So with this you can detect the parasitic infection. How can you prevent this intestinal infection, intestinal protozoan infection? So for prevention of any of the intestinal infection or any infection which is spread by the fecal-oral route, you should remember these 3 points. Okay, if you want to prevent any infection which is transmitted by the fecal-oral route, then you have to remember these 3 points. That is, improve hand hygiene and food hygiene, avoid ingestion of food and water contaminated with human feces, and then the treatment of asymptomatic carriers. So if you do these 3 points, then you can prevent the intestinal protozoan infection. So this is about the diagnosis and the prevention part. That's all about the intestinal protozoan infection video. Here it completes whole chapter. Next we will start with any other chapter. That's all for today.